Logan with the Backwoodsman Institute. In this video, I'm going to be showing you how to make pine pitch glue, and I'm going to show you the basics of how to do it in a survival situation. But I'm actually going to change it a little bit, change up the recipe. I'm actually going to make Cutler's resin by adding one special ingredient that's different. And what they use Cutler's resin for back in the day, that's how they hafted knife blades to handles. You can use it. What's good about this pine pitch glue or Cutler's resin, it's waterproof. If you got a hole in your boot, you can put it over the top, waterproof it. If you got a hole in the tarp, do the same thing. You can haft knife blades to handles, arrowheads to a survival arrow. There's so many uses for this in a survival situation. So with that being said, I'm going to show you how to start the process. Alright, these are nodules of dried pine sap that I collected from a pine tree, and this can come from anything. It can come from an insect burrowing into the bark. And what's awesome about a pine tree is when it gets wounded or damaged, like in a storm, it sends out sap to that damaged area to try to heal it, kind of like a scab on human skin. So that's what it's trying to do, heal itself. But you can harvest this, and there's so many uses for it. Now when you collect dried pine sap, you got pieces of bark, you got dirt, you got maybe insects in there. And when you want to make glue, you want it to be as pure as possible. So we have to render this down and collect just the pine sap. So I'm going to show you how to do that in a survival situation. Alright, you need some type of container and some type of strainer. Now, if you're in a survival situation, hopefully, you know, another man's litter is your treasure. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a container and a strainer out of these aluminum cans. What I'm going to do, let's say you can use a knife if you want to, but beware, anytime you go use a knife on metal, it dulls your blade. So I'm just going to make a bend in it and kind of bend it back and forth until I can tear it off or break it off and have a container on the bottom part. Alright, now I got a container. It's not the prettiest thing in the world, but it'll do. Now with this one, I'm going to make my strainer. What I want to do here is I want to make a level surface, because I'm going to put the dried pine sap on there, and I'm going to light it on fire, and it's going to dribble down through there and basically filter itself. So here, I just want to flatten it out, and just like that, I'm going to set my pine sap in here, and I'm going to poke holes. Now I'm going to use a knife blade, but it's not my primary knife blade, because I don't want it to dull. If you have a secondary knife blade or anything, use that. And you want very fine holes through here. Alright, I just cut 6 holes through there. I'm going to take this, and it's going to rest on top of my container, just like that. Alright, now that I got this set up, I'm going to try to get it started with a match for my survival kit. Alright, then set it over your strainer, and you can add some more pine nodules to there until you have whatever you collected rendered down. Now, this is going to take a little bit. Now that black stuff you see there is called pine tar. Now that itself is waterproof, but when it dries, it's very brittle. And I showed you how to do this with an aluminum can just because you may be in a survival situation and you come across a soda can or something, and in your mind, you can start thinking of how to put it to use. Now, if I was going to go out and make my own pine resin, I would already use an Altoids can, because you can open it up, it's going to have a nice collecting spot for the resin, and all you got to do is poke holes in the top. Alright, this is the rendered down pine resin that we collected just off of a few pine nodules. I got a whole container left, and I'm going to finish them out using this so I can put them in here and work with it all in this container. I'm going to finish letting this burn off, then I'm going to let it cool down. I'm going to show you what the next step is. Alright, here's the recipe for survival pine pitch glue. For every 5 parts of rendered resin you add 1 part of charcoal and 1 part of dried herbivore droppings, whether it be rabbit droppings, deer droppings, horse droppings. 5 parts to 1 part charcoal, 1 part of droppings. And you have to grind this up really fine. When making the glue, the biggest thing is everything has to be pure and fine, so grind it up into really small pieces. Now, with that being said, I'm going to be making Cutler's resin, which is it's a little more pliable than the survival pine pitch glue. You're basically using the same recipe. 5 parts of resin, 1 part charcoal, and 1 part of beeswax. Now I got this beeswax from the local craft store, and in their candle making section. You can make survival candles out of beeswax. It's an awesome thing. I got a 1 pound block of it for $15. Now with pine pitch glue, the charcoal and the droppings act as bonding agents for the glue and helps it hold its structure, because regular pine tar is very brittle. It breaks off very easy. Now with the Cutler's resin, the reason I'm doing that is because of the beeswax. The beeswax makes it more pliable and more of a malleable compound. All right, now we're gonna add our ingredients to the pine resin. All right, everything cooled down. I'm gonna open it up. I got my pine tar in there, but look how brittle it is. See how it scrapes off? So what you gotta do is I got a fire going here. You don't really want flames because you've seen how volatile it was. So you just want to set it on the coals and heat this back up. Now I got my charcoal ground up to fine powder, and I got my beeswax. Now if you were just making pine pitch glue, you'd add your charcoal and then your ground rabbit droppings or deer droppings or whatever. But like I said, I'm making Cutler's resin, so I'm going to add my beeswax. So my beeswax, I can add in there too. 1 part for every 5, like I said, and this is going to melt down as well. Take my charcoal, dump that in there. All right, now that it's all stirred in there evenly, I'm going to take it off the fire. All right, now I'm going to let it cool down a little bit, and once it starts hardening, I'm going to kind of pack it onto this stick here, so that whenever I need it, I can heat it up and use it as a hot glue and melt it on anything I need to. All right, I ended up getting 2 nice glue sticks out of here, and I got to experiment. I got a normal paper cup, and I'm gonna poke a hole in the bottom, just like that. Now we're gonna see how well this thing seals up and if it'll hold water. So I got a fire going back here, and all I'm gonna do is heat the end of the glue up until it starts to liquefy again. And don't take long. Just kind of roll it over the coals. And I'm patching that hole. Alright, so I got the bottom patched and the inside patched. See a little spot yet? Alright, now we're going to let this harden up and dry. Set our glue stick off to the side. Then we're going to see if this will hold water. Remember how the pine tar is very brittle? Well, this you can cut into, and it's very flexible. So this makes an excellent glue. Now I think our cup's dried out now, so I got some water here. All right, it's filled up and it's holding water. So this is an excellent adhesive if you're in a survival situation for anything. Like I said, putting an arrowhead on a survival arrow, or patching a hole in a tent or in a boot, anything. So I hope you guys like this video, and whenever this is hard, you can just keep it in your survival kit and you can use it anytime you want. So there you have it, pine pitch glue, or in this case, Cutler's resin. Hope you guys like the video. Catch you in a bit.